Hello friends, welcome to the second lecture of electrical measurements. Last time we had seen Kirchhoff laws, Kirchhoff's voltage law, Kirchhoff's current law, and now we are going to see the applications of the Kirchhoff's law. The first application of the Kirchhoff law that we have is a Wheatstone bridge. In a Wheatstone bridge principle, right, this is the concept you also do practicals in your 12th standard, and this is the simple applications of the Kirchhoff's law. So let us see what exactly the Wheatstone bridge means. So Wheatstone bridge is a combination of four resistors which are arranged in the form of a bridge. They make such form of a quadrilateral, right? P, Q, R, S. There is galvanometer connected in the center. There is a switch, right? You can say a tapping key. K2. There is a battery and one more tapping key or a switch. You can say K1, right? Let us name A, B, C, D. Right? A, B, C, D. These are the four junctions. You can see junction means multiple wires are meeting or they are leading from that point. So as soon as switch K1 is made on, right, the current starts flowing in the circuit, and then the K2 is also made on. I'll write down some description about the Wheatstone bridge. So P and Q are known and fixed resistors, right? Their values are fixed, their values are selected with a cap so that the Wheatstone bridge principle may be applied and can be proved. What are their values exactly? Those all things we do it practically. This is a theoretical explanation. Then we have a resistance box R. Resistance box R. This can be better denoted by the symbol of a resistance box. So this is a resistance box, right? Its resistance can be changed. S is unknown resistor. S is unknown resistor. So this is a Wheatstone bridge. This is an arrangement in order to find out the unknown resistance S, right? By suitable arrangement. I don't know the value of this resistor and I want to find out. So Wheatstone bridge is a best application, best arrangement through which I can find out the value of this unknown resistor. So let us start. Right now, as soon as the switch K1 is closed and then K2 is closed, then R is adjusted so that current in galvanometer is 0, and under this condition Wheatstone bridge is said to be balanced. So this last, right, first we close the switch K1. As soon as we close the switch K1, current starts flowing, right? Current, it goes into the galvanometer also. Switch K2 is also closed. Then resistance box is adjusted such a way that the current in the galvanometer should become 0. When the current in the galvanometer becomes 0, Wheatstone bridge is said to be balanced, and after that condition we can easily find out the values of S. So let us start the mathematical part of it. So as soon as the battery is connected and the current I, this current I gets split up into current I1 here, right? And here the current will be I minus I1. I gets redistributed into two parts. Some I1 here and the remaining, that is I minus I1 in this branch. I1 again gets redistributed at the junction B some current Ig in the galvanometer, right? And the remaining current I1 minus Ig into the branch BC. Right now here Ig will appear at the junction B. I minus I1 will appear at the junction B. Both these currents will combine, right? Applying KCL, both these currents will combine and will move out to the branch BC. So combination of these two current, Ig plus I minus I1, right? This will be the current in the branch BC. Ultimately, the current in the DC and current in the BC, these both the currents they will combine, and finally current I will come out. If you see here, Ig gets cancelled, I1 also gets cancelled. Finally, current I, it moves out of the junction C. So that is the application of the KCL. Now we will apply KVL in order to obtain our unknown resistor value S. So if you want, you can write down in words. Applying KCL at junction A, right? And then we have applied KCL at B, and then we applied KCL at D, and finally at the C. Right? Applying KCL at junction to obtain current in the corresponding branch. So after this, the next step is we apply KCL, applying KVL. Next step we apply KVL, right? For KVL, again we need to select a loop. So how many loops can you see here? You need to be very much attentive about the selection of the loop. You must be very much sharp enough to identify the number of loops, right? Even though the number of loops may be many, but the selection of the some best loops has to be done so as to obtain the value S. So here, whatever loops we select will be as such that the S must be included, or it must be helpful in solving the S. So one of the loop I see here is A, B, D, A. Another loop is B, C, D, D. Right? Then the another loop A, B, C. Battery. Let us say the battery has a EMF E. So A, B, C, E, A. This is third loop. Then this part included A, B, C, E. Fourth loop. Right? A, B, C, D, A. Fifth loop. So this way multiple loops are possible. So among those multiple loops, right, I want to find out the value of S. I select two loops, that is A, B, D, A. I select this loop. Even you can try with the any two loops which I have said out of the 5. Right? When you try with any two loops, you will get a much detailed experience, much detailed idea that how exactly the KVL is to be applied so as to get the solution. Right? This is by my practice itself that I know that A, B, D, A is going to work out. And if you don't know what's going to work out, as I said, out of 5, you select any 2 or 3 loops. So applying KVL to the A, B, D, A, right? Again, potential drop will be P into I1, right? The resistance P into I1, potential drop moving in the direction of the current, so it is positive. Then here current in the galvanometer is Ig. So galvanometer resistance, let us say it is G and the current is Ig. Then D, from D we will moving in the reverse direction. So reverse direction it will be I minus I1 into R, right? Then equal to 0. This is for the A, B, D, A. Then another loop, applying KVL. I apply KVL to the loop B, C, D, V. B, C, D, V. You might be having question in your mind that how I am able to identify the perfect loops. I am able to identify the perfect loops because I have done sufficient practice. So it's only the practice which is going to help you out to select the loops. So applying KVL to the BCDB for the part BC, if you take for the part BC, if you take, it will be I1 minus Ig into Q. We are moving in the direction of the current, so that will be positive. Then CD, for CD it will be minus sign because opposite direction of the current. So Ig plus I minus I1 into S, correct? Then for the dB, it will be minus Ig into G equal to 0. So this is the another equation. Please take your own time in writing the equations. There are so many terms, you cannot afford to mix out. If you miss out even one single term, this is a 3 to 4 mark question, finished. It's a practical also. So there will be a huge loss. Now, next step we say is R is adjusted such a way that Ig becomes 0, right? This is a resistance box, so some resistance are added, removed. Finally, we make Ig is equals to 0, and when Ig is equals to 0, bridge is said to be balanced. So now if we substitute Ig equal to 0 in both these equations, Ig equal to 0. So let us see what further simplification gives us. Here it will be I1 into Q minus I minus I1 into S, right? This part will be 0, and here it will be P I1, this is 0, here it will be minus I1 into R equal to 0. Further simplifying this, taking all I1 together and I together, so it will be I1 common Q plus S, correct, and equal to IS. This IS will be shifted this side. Taking all correct only, this is I1 Q is equals to I minus I1 into S, right, and this side if we do, it will be P I1 is equals to I minus I1 into R. Now if we divide these two equations, right, I1 Q is equals to I minus I1 into S divided by P I1 divided by I minus I1 into R. So Q by P is equals to S by R, which leads to the conclusion that S is equals to Q into R by P. So this is how we can identify the unknown resistance using the Wheatstone bridge. Right? Very simple it is. Then the next application which we have is using the same Wheatstone bridge, we will find out the temperature. We will calculate the temperature. Let us see how. Next topic we have is temperature measurement. Using Wheatstone bridge. So Wheatstone bridge, it's a really a, what do we say, it's a most important concept, right? Multiple things we can do. Let us see the diagram for the temperature measurement. So this is the diagram for the Wheatstone bridge, right? Temperature measurement using the Wheatstone bridge. This is a heater, right? A wire which is made up of constant ton or manganese, right? So that wire, this will be placed into the bucket whose temperature has to be measured, or can be placed into the, this wire can be placed into the furnace whose temperature is to be measured. So let us see how will we exactly measure the temperature, right? Let us say this wire, it has been placed into some atmosphere. Let us say the wire is placed in this room and I want to find out the current temperature T exactly here. I can do it very accurately. So there are some 3 to 4 steps involved. Let us see them. So under the step 1, right, in the first step what we do, we place S in 0 degrees centigrade. Right, we place S into the 0 degrees centigrade, and then as soon as S is placed into 0 degrees centigrade, again the balancing condition of the Wheatstone bridge is done. This is a variable resistance R. So just like as a previous discussion of the Wheatstone bridge principle, we balance the Wheatstone bridge. As soon as we balance the Wheatstone bridge, we get this equation that P upon Q is equals to resistance will be R, right, at some temperature, resistance at 0 degrees centigrade. Yes, resistance at 0 degrees centigrade. P by Q, R upon S. S will give me resistance at 0 degrees centigrade. So place S in the 0 degrees centigrade. When we place this heater in the 0 degrees centigrade, the value of S obtained will be, right, this will be the resistance at 0 degrees centigrade, R into Q by T. So I got the resistance at 0 degrees centigrade, resistance of this arrangement at 0 degrees centigrade. Now one more hint I would like to give here. In order to measure the temperature, the formula which we are going to use is this. Right? You must be remembering this formula to calculate the resistance or to calculate the temperature. So to use this formula, I must know reference resistor, I must reference resistance value. So this is resistance at 0 degrees centigrade, so I must know this value. Then I must also know the value of alpha. If you rearrange this equation, alpha can be obtained this way. What will be alpha? Alpha will be RT minus R0 upon R0. So R0 into delta T. So this will give you the value of alpha. Right? So this is the step 1. Then the next step, we take place as in 100 degrees centigrade, right? 0 degrees centigrade, it may be ice, 100 degrees centigrade, a water bath which has a 100 degrees centigrade. So again in the balance condition, if we balance the Wheatstone bridge such a way that the current in the galvanometer becomes 0, so again we obtain this equation P by Q. Let resistance box this time is adjusted to some different value of the resistance R dash. At 0 degrees centigrade, it was adjusted at R. But now, since this is at 100 degrees centigrade, resistance will change. Obviously, we will also have to change this value of the resistance box. So now, new value of the resistance box is something R dash, and resistance at 100 degrees centigrade. So here, if we again simplify, R100 will be equal to R dash into Q by T. So this is the resistance obtained at 100 degrees centigrade. Now I place S in T degrees centigrade. So as I said, I want to measure the temperature of this room. So this arrangement, this wire, it is placed in this room. So as soon as I place in this room, again the resistance of this material, constantan or manganese, right, its resistance will be something different. So again applying the Wheatstone bridge principle, P and Q are fixed value. There are some standard values which are fixed, right? There are multiple options. P can be 10 ohms, Q can be 20 ohms, or P can be 100, Q can be 200, or some. There are multiple such values or options available to select P and Q. So P, Q, right? Then the, let us say, resistance box is now adjusted to some different value, R double dash, and this is RT. So now I have resistance at T degree centigrade. So RT will be R double dash into Q by P. So this is, I have got resistance at T degree centigrade. Now using these formulas, correct? Using these formulas, first I will use using alpha is equals to RT minus R0, right? R100 minus R0 upon R0 into what is the change in temperature? Change in temperature from 0 to 100. So change in temperature will be 100. So I got the value of alpha. I have got value of alpha. Now I will use this formula RT, right, is equals to R0. I know the value of R0. I know the value of RT. 1 plus alpha. I know the value of alpha. Delta T. Delta T is final temperature minus initial temperature T. I have to find out. So all the values I know except T. So let me make T as a subject. So if you want to make T as a subject, it will be RT minus R naught. Correct? Will be alpha R naught T. So T will be equal to RT minus R naught, right? R naught alpha. So now I have the temperature of this room. These calculations can be done. Nowadays we have electronics available. Those electronics, they can do these calculations by themselves. What we have to do is we have to design a circuit diagram. Suitable values of resistance is to be selected, and then we get the value of temperature. This is actually how your air conditioners, your refrigerators find out the temperature of that particular area. So this is the temperature measurement using the Wheatstone bridge. Then after the temperature measurement of the Wheatstone bridge, then we have one more application of the Wheatstone bridge, that is a slide wire bridge. What is a slide wire bridge? It is also called as a meter bridge. Right? This is also a one symmetric arrangement to the Wheatstone bridge. So let us draw the diagram for the slide wire bridge. So slide wire bridge, it contains a wire which is exactly 1 meter long, right? 1 meter long, so it is 0 to 100 centimeter. This wire is again made up of constant ton or manganese, right? Which has a greater value of alpha. So 0 to 100, right? And this wire is fixed on the wooden box. This is some wooden box, and on this wooden box there is a scale from 0 to 100 centimeter. Markings are there. Again, this is a practical which you will be doing in your 12th standard. So just a theoretical explanation I am giving you. Most your drawing should be as best as possible. Then from here again we take a conducting wires. These are now copper wires. These are now not constant ton or manganese. These are copper wires. These copper wires have two gaps, right? Two gaps here. It should be very clear. Here we keep some known resistor value P, right? Some resistance box we place here. This is R. Right, and let us say here this is the unknown resistance S we have put. This value we have to find out. This again an arrangement to find out the simple practical application of the Wheatstone bridge. This arrangement you can buy in the market to find the value of unknown resistance S. Even this arrangement can be done on this setup. These setups are available in the physics laboratories. You can find it in your school, right? Then there is a from here. You have a galvanometer G connected, and the another end of the galvanometer is connected to the jockey J. What is jockey? Jockey is such type of a just such type of a pen which can slide on this wire. As you slide on this wire, what will happen? Current will change, right? This, if you just see, this resembles a Wheatstone bridge. I draw a, right? This will be the point A, B. Right, A, B, and then this point you can name it as C, and this point you can name it as D. So this is just this will again resemble the Wheatstone bridge principle. Now what we do, we arrange the resistance box in a suitable condition as is unknown. I start sliding the jockey from 0, right? Galvanometer current will change. At some position a galvanometer shows me 0 deflection. As soon as galvanometer shows me 0 deflection, I will notice the length. What is the length here? L. And what is the length on this other side? This other side length is 100 minus L. What is the resistance of this length L? Now let us say this wire, right? It has a resistance per unit length, some, let us say alpha. So the resistance of this wire will be alpha L, right? Let us say this is the resistance P, this is the resistance Q, and then the resistance of the Q will be alpha into 100 minus L. This is the resistance per unit length. Resistance per unit length to denote by alpha or maybe some other symbol. Now again in a balanced condition, right, again this is a balanced condition. So for this balanced condition, if you write down the equation, that will be P upon Q. So value of the P upon Q is equals to R upon S, making S as a subject, R Q by T. So if you substitute the value, R you already know, Q is you can calculate, that is alpha into 100 minus L, and P also you can calculate. What is the value of P? That is alpha L. Alpha gets cancelled, so R into 100 minus L upon L. This will give you the value of unknown resistance S. So this is a slide wire bridge or a meter bridge.